First Contact Fiasco. The sleek, silver starship Odyssey hung in orbit around Earth, its hull gleaming in the sunlight. Inside, Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the main view screen. The image before her was one she dreamed of since childhood. An alien spacecraft, its design unlike anything humanity had ever seen, approaching Earth. "All stations, report," Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the excitement coursing through her veins. "Weapons systems on standby, Captain," Lieutenant Kazuo Tanaka responded from his console. "But I hope we won't need them." Dr. Aisha Patel, the ship's xenobiologist, chimed in next. "Medical bay prepped for any contingency, Captain. We're ready for whatever, or whoever, comes through those doors." Elena nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. This was it. The moment humanity had been waiting for, preparing for centuries. First contact with an alien civilization. As the alien ship drew closer, its strange, organic-looking design became clearer. It seemed to pulse with an inner light, its surface rippling like water. Elena couldn't help but marvel at the technology that must have gone into its creation. "Open a channel," she ordered, straightening her uniform. "Let's say hello." The communications officer, a young ensign named Carlos Mendoza, worked his controls. "Channel open, Captain. We're broadcasting on all frequencies." Elena took a deep breath. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth ship Odyssey. On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to our solar system and extend greetings of peace and friendship." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, the view screen flickered, and an image appeared that made everyone on the bridge gasp. The alien was beautiful, ethereal. Its body seemed to be made of living crystal, refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. Multiple limbs moved with fluid grace, and what Elena assumed were eyes, glowing orbs of swirling energy, regarded them with what she hoped was curiosity rather than hostility. When it spoke, the sound was like nothing Elena had ever heard before. It was music and mathematics combined, a symphony of complex harmonics that made her teeth vibrate. Carlos worked frantically at his station. "The universal translator is having trouble, Captain. It's like their language is partially telepathic." Elena frowned. This was an unforeseen complication. "Keep working on it, Ensign. We need to establish communication." As Carlos struggled with the translator, the alien continued to speak. Its body language, if you could call it that, became more agitated. The crystal-like surface of its form began to pulse with increasing intensity. "Captain," Kazuo said, tension evident in his voice, "I'm detecting energy buildups in the alien ship. They could be charging weapons." Elena's mind raced. This was rapidly spiraling out of control. "Broadcast a message of peace again. Make it clear we mean no harm." But before Carlos could comply, a new voice cut through the chaos on the bridge. "Wait, I think I understand them." All eyes turned to Dr. Aisha Patel. The xenobiologist's eyes were wide, her hands pressed to her temples. It's not just sound. There are colors, emotions. It's overwhelming, but I think I can interpret." Elena didn't hesitate. "Do it, Doctor. What are they saying?" Aisha closed her eyes, concentrating. "They're confused, frightened, even. Our ship, our technology, it's primitive to them, but in a way they don't understand. They're asking, no, demanding to know how we achieve space travel with such crude tools." Elena blinked, taken aback. Crude. The Odyssey was the pinnacle of human engineering, the result of centuries of scientific advancement. But to these beings, it was apparently little more than a child's toy. "Tell them," Elena said slowly, "that we are a young species, eager to learn. We've worked hard to reach the stars, and we're honored to meet those who have gone before us." Aisha nodded, her face scrunched in concentration as she attempted to convey the message in a way the aliens could understand. The crystalline being's agitation seemed to lessen, but confusion still radiated from its form. More musical speech followed, and Aisha translated. They're amazed. They say our minds are so singular, limited. They want to know how we function without a collective consciousness. Alina exchanged glances with her crew. Collective consciousness. The implications were staggering. Explain that we are individuals, Doctor. Each of us unique, with our own thoughts and experiences. As Aisha relayed this information, the alien's reaction was immediate and dramatic. Its crystalline form flared with brilliant light, and a wave of emotion washed over the bridge crew. Surprise, disbelief, and was that fear? Captain, Kazuo warned, the energy readings from their ship are spiking again. Elena made a split-second decision. Lower our shields, she ordered. But Captain, Kazuo began to protest. Do it, Lieutenant. We need to show them we trust them. It's the only way. As the Odyssey's shields flickered and died, Elena stepped forward, arms spread wide in a universal gesture of openness. We come in peace, she said clearly, hoping that the emotion behind her words would convey what the alien's translator could not. We are different, yes, but we believe that diversity is strength. We have much to learn from each other. There was a tense moment of silence. Then, slowly, the light emanating from the alien being began to soften. Its form seemed to relax, the sharp edges of its crystalline structure becoming more fluid. Aisha gasped. They're apologizing, Captain. They say they mistook our individuality for some kind of fragmentation or malfunction. They've never encountered a species like us before. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Tell them no apology is necessary. This is why we explore, to encounter the new and unexpected, to broaden our understanding of the universe and our place in it. As Aisha conveyed this message, the alien's form began to shift and change. Slowly, it reshaped itself into a rough approximation of a human form, still crystalline and alien, but with recognizable features. It was an astounding display of adaptability and a clear attempt to make the humans more comfortable. They're inviting us to dock with their ship, Aisha translated, her voice filled with wonder. They want to continue our discussion face to face. They say they have much to learn from us. Elena looked around at her crew, seeing the mix of excitement and apprehension on their faces. This was it, the true beginning of humanity's journey into the galactic community. It hadn't been smooth, and there were clearly many challenges ahead, but they had persevered. They had shown that humanity's greatest strengths, adaptability, individuality, and an unquenchable curiosity, could bridge even the vastest of divides. Well, Elena said, a grin spreading across her face, let's not keep our new friends waiting. Helm, begin docking procedures. It's time to make history. As the Odyssey maneuvered towards the alien vessel, Elena couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity had faced its first major test in the cosmic arena, and they had passed. Not through superior technology or strength, but through understanding, empathy, and the uniquely human ability to find common ground in the face of the utterly alien. The adventure was just beginning, and Elena knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them with the same spirit that had brought them to the stars. As individuals and as a species, they were ready to take their place in the grand tapestry of galactic civilization. The docking clamps engaged with a soft thud, and a new chapter in human history began. The Galactic Olympics. 5 years had passed since humanity's first contact with the crystalline beings, now known as the Luminary. In that time, Earth had been officially welcomed into the Galactic Confederation, a loose alliance of spacefaring civilizations. While humans were still considered newcomers, their unique abilities and perspectives had already begun to make waves in interstellar society. It was in this context that humanity prepared for its debut at the Galactic Olympics, a centennial event that brought together athletes from across the known universe to compete in a variety of physical and mental challenges. On the planet Nexus Prime, an artificial world constructed specifically for the Games, Human athlete Sarah Chen stood at the starting line of the zero-gravity obstacle course. Her lean, muscular frame was encased in a sleek exosuit, its surface shimmering with adaptive camouflage technology, one of the few advantages humans had in this competition. Sarah's heart raced as she surveyed her competition. To her left was a Volcrin, a being made of living plasma contained within a force field. To her right, a Zyglot, its tentacle body coiled like a spring, ready to launch. Further down the line were species Sarah had never even seen before, each more bizarre and seemingly better adapted to zero than the last. "You've got this, Sarah," came the voice of her coach, Dr. Marcus Okoro, through her earpiece. "Remember your training. Use your adaptability." Sarah nodded, though she knew Marcus couldn't see her. Adaptability. That was what humans had going for them. While other species might be naturally more suited to specific events, humans had the unique ability to quickly learn, adapt, and improvise. A holographic countdown appeared in the air before them. Sarah tensed, ready to spring into action. 3, 2, 1. The starting tone sounded, and Sarah launched herself forward with all her might. The world became a blur of motion as she navigated the complex series of obstacles. She twisted and turned, using minimal bursts from her suit's thrusters to change direction. The Volcrin surged ahead, its plasma form allowing it to flow through narrow gaps with ease. The Zyglot wasn't far behind, its tentacles grasping and propelling it forward with incredible speed. But Sarah didn't let their early lead discourage her. She focused on the course ahead, analyzing each obstacle as she approached. Where the Volcrin and Zyglot relied on their natural abilities, Sarah used her mind, plotting the most efficient path through the three-dimensional maze. As they reached the midpoint of the course, Sarah noticed something. The obstacles were becoming more varied, more unpredictable. Holographic barriers appeared and disappeared at random intervals. Gravity fields fluctuated, creating pockets of normal and reverse gravity amid the zero environment. This was where human adaptability truly shone. Sarah quickly adjusted her strategy, using the changing environment to her advantage. She timed her movements to coincide with the appearance of holographic platforms, using them as springboards to launch herself forward. When she encountered a pocket of reverse gravity, she used it to change direction rapidly, gaining ground on her competitors. The Volcrin, so fluid and graceful in zero, struggled with the sudden gravity shifts. The Zyglot, while still fast, couldn't adjust its trajectory as quickly as Sarah could. Slowly but surely, Sarah began to close the gap. As they entered the final stretch, Sarah was neck and neck with the Volcrin, with the Zyglot close behind. The last obstacle was a series of rapidly spinning rings, each one smaller than the last. The Volcrin, confident in its ability to change shape, attempted to stream through the rings. But the centrifugal force of the spin was too much, and its plasma form was scattered, forcing it to regroup and lose precious seconds. Sarah, however, had a plan. Instead of trying to go through the rings, she used them. Timing her movements perfectly, she grabbed onto the edge of each ring, using its spin to slingshot herself forward at incredible speed. With a final burst of effort, Sarah crossed the finish line mere milliseconds before the Zyglot, which had managed to overtake the reforming Volcrin. The stadium erupted in cheers as Sarah's name flashed across the holographic scoreboard in first place. She had done it. Humanity's first gold medal in the Galactic Olympics. As Sarah floated in the zero environment, catching her breath, she was approached by the Zyglot. Its tentacles formed intricate patterns that Sarah's translator interpreted as a mix of congratulations and curiosity. "How?" the Zyglot asked. "How did you, a gravity-bound species, outmaneuver us in zero?" Sarah smiled, extending a hand in what she hoped was a universally understood gesture of sportsmanship. "We humans may be bound by gravity on our world, but our minds are free to adapt to any situation. It's not about being the strongest or the fastest. It's about being able to change and grow." The Zyglot's tentacles writhed in what Sarah's translator suggested was understanding and respect. It extended a tentacle, gently wrapping it around Sarah's outstretched hand in an alien handshake. As Sarah was led to the winner's podium, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride, not just for herself, but for all of humanity. They had proven that they belonged here, among the stars, competing with species far older and more advanced than themselves. The human contingent in the stands was going wild, waving Earth flags and cheering Sarah's name. But what touched Sarah even more was the reaction of the alien spectators. Many were standing, or floating, or undulating, depending on their physiology, applauding her victory. She saw curiosity in their eyes, or eye stalks, or sensory organs, a newfound respect for the capabilities of these strange, adaptable humans. As the Earth anthem played and the holographic Earth flag materialized above the podium, Sarah realized that this victory was about more than just a sporting event. It was a statement to the galaxy. Humanity had arrived, and they were here to stay. In the days that followed, human athletes continued to surprise and impress in various events. They might not have been the strongest, fastest, or most naturally suited to every competition, but their ability to analyze, adapt, and overcome consistently put them on the podium. There was Jessica Como, who used her rock climbing skills to excel in the vertical city navigation event, outperforming even the wall-crawling arachnoids of Theta 9. Then there was Hiroshi Tanaka, whose background in deep-sea welding allowed him to remain calm and focused during the high-pressure underwater construction challenge, earning him a silver medal. But it wasn't just in physical events that humans excelled. Dr. Yuki Matsumoto shocked the galactic community by taking gold in the multi-dimensional chess tournament, her lateral thinking and unpredictable strategies confounding even the hyper-logical quantarians. As the Galactic Olympics drew to a close, humanity had secured a respectable medal count, far exceeding the modest expectations set for them as newcomers to the galactic stage. More importantly, they had earned the respect and interest of countless alien species. In the closing ceremony, as athletes from all worlds mingled and celebrated together, the human team found themselves at the center of attention. Aliens of all shapes and sizes approached them, eager to learn more about these adaptable, unpredictable beings from Earth. Sarah Chen, still basking in the glow of her gold medal victory, found herself in conversation with a group of alien athletes. They asked about Earth, about human culture and history, and about the secret to humanity's success in the games. "There's no secret," Sarah explained, her words being translated into a dozen different languages. "We humans have always been explorers, adventurers. Our entire history is filled with examples of us pushing boundaries, going places we were never meant to go, doing things we were never meant to do. This," she gestured to the grand Olympic stadium around them. "This is just the latest frontier for us to explore." As Sarah spoke, she noticed a crowd gathering, alien athletes and spectators alike drawn in by her words. She saw nods of understanding, gestures of approval, and expressions of newfound respect on faces both familiar and utterly alien. "We may not be the strongest or the fastest or the most advanced," Sarah continued, her voice growing stronger, "but we will never stop trying, never stop learning, never stop adapting. That's what makes us human. And that's what will make us valuable members of this galactic community." A cheer went up from the crowd, a cacophony of sounds from 100 different species. In that moment, Sarah realized that humanity had accomplished something far greater than winning medals. They had won acceptance, respect, and a place among the stars. As the Galactic Olympics came to an end and the athletes prepared to return to their home worlds, there was a palpable sense that something had changed. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, not through overwhelming power or advanced technology, but through their uniquely human traits of adaptability, creativity, and determination. The journey home to Earth was filled with excitement and anticipation. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and the future was bright with possibility. As their ship broke orbit from Nexus Prime, Sarah Chen looked out at the star-filled void and smiled. This was just the beginning. The real challenges and the real adventures were yet to come. Cosmic catastrophe. The klaxons blared through the corridors of the United Earth Space Command, UESC, headquarters in Geneva. Admiral Jen Lai strode purposefully into the command center, her face a mask of calm determination that belied the urgency of the situation. "Report," she ordered, her voice cutting through the chaos of the room. Colonel Adebayo stepped forward, his holographic display flickering to life. "Admiral, we've received a distress signal from the Arcturian system. Their homeworld, Arcturus Prime, is facing an imminent extinction-level event." The hologram shifted, showing a gas giant nearly twice the size of Jupiter on a collision course with a smaller Earth-like planet. Jen's eyes widened as she took in the implications. "How long do they have?" "Less than 72 hours before impact, ma'am," Adebayo replied grimly. "The Arcturians have already begun evacuation procedures, but their fleet isn't equipped to handle a full planetary evacuation. They're requesting immediate assistance from the Galactic Confederation." Jen nodded, her mind racing. The Arcturians were one of the oldest and most respected species in the Confederation. Their loss would be catastrophic, not just in terms of lives, but in the wealth of knowledge and culture that would be forever lost. "What's the Confederation's response?" she asked. Colonel Adebayo's expression darkened. "That's the problem, Admiral. Most of the advanced species are claiming they're too far away to respond in time. The few closer ones are citing non-interference protocols or resource limitations." Jen's jaw clenched. Politics. Even in the face of catastrophe, the old powers of the galaxy were paralyzed by their own rules and self-interest. She made a decision. "Prepare the fleet for immediate departure. We're going to Arcturus Prime." A hush fell over the command center. Colonel Adebayo cleared his throat. "Admiral, with all due respect, our ships aren't designed for mass evacuation. We don't have the capacity to save an entire planet." Jen met his gaze steadily. "No, we don't. But we have something just as valuable: human ingenuity. Get me our best scientists, engineers, and problem solvers. We have 72 hours to save a world." As the UESC fleet raced towards Arcturus Prime at maximum warp, a team of Earth's brightest minds worked around the clock. Led by Dr. Fatima Nazari, a brilliant astrophysicist, they pored over data, ran simulations, and proposed increasingly outlandish solutions. 48 hours before impact, the fleet arrived in the Arcturian system. The sight that greeted them was heart-wrenching. Thousands of Arcturian ships, from sleek cruisers to cobbled-together transports, swarmed around their dying world. But it was clear that their efforts were woefully inadequate. Admiral Jen opened a channel to the Arcturian High Command. The alien that appeared on screen was tall and willowy, with iridescent skin that seemed to ripple with emotion. Its large, compound eyes reflected a mixture of gratitude and despair. "I am First Arbiter Xylix," the Arcturian said, its melodious voice translated by the ship's computers. "On behalf of my people, I thank you for coming. But I fear your assistance, while noble, will make little difference in the face of such catastrophe." Jen leaned forward. "First Arbiter, humanity may be young in the galactic community, but we have faced our share of disasters. We're here not just with ships, but with ideas. Give us a chance to help." Xylix's skin rippled with what Jen hoped was agreement. "We welcome any aid you can provide, Admiral. What do you propose?" At that moment, Dr. Nazari burst onto the bridge, her eyes shining with excitement. "Admiral, we have a plan. It's crazy, it's dangerous, and it just might work." Over the next hour, Dr. Nazari laid out a plan so audacious it left even the Arcturians speechless. Using a combination of Arcturian gravity manipulation technology and human fusion drives, they proposed to create a massive energy shield around Arcturus Prime. The shield wouldn't stop the gas giant, but it would allow them to siphon off its momentum, potentially slowing it enough to alter its course. "It's never been attempted on this scale," Dr. Nazari admitted. "The energy requirements are staggering. We'll need every ship, every power source we can muster. First Arbiter Xylix's compound eyes blinked rapidly. The risk to your people, to your ships, is worth taking, Jen finished firmly. This is why we're out here, First Arbiter. To help, to save lives, to do what others claim is impossible. As the plan was put into motion, the scene around Arcturus Prime became one of organized chaos. Human ships worked alongside Arcturian vessels, their crews working in perfect synergy despite vast differences in biology and technology. Dr. Nazari coordinated the effort from the UESC flagship, her voice calm and steady as she directed the placement of energy emitters and power relays. Human engineers worked tirelessly, adapting their technology to interface with Arcturian systems in ways their designers had never imagined. 24 hours before impact, the energy shield flickered to life. It was a breathtaking sight, a shimmering blue barrier that enveloped the entire planet. As the gas giant entered the outer edges of the system, its immense gravity already tugging at Arcturus Prime, the shield began to glow brighter. Energy levels holding steady, reported Lieutenant Commander Yuki Tanaka from her station. The shield is performing beyond expected parameters. A cheer went up around the bridge, but Admiral Jen knew it was too early to celebrate. The real test was yet to come. As the gas giant drew closer, the strain on the shield became evident. Ships' power cores were pushed to their limits, and more than one human vessel had to be evacuated as its systems overloaded. 12 hours before projected impact, the shield began to falter. Sections flickered and died, only to be reactivated moments later as power was rerouted from other areas. The combined fleet of human and Arcturian ships danced a complex ballet, moving to reinforce weak points in the shield. In the final hours, it became clear that the shield alone wouldn't be enough. The gas giant's trajectory had been altered, but it would still strike a glancing blow to Arcturus Prime, enough to render the planet uninhabitable. It was then that Captain Elena Rodriguez, the same officer who had made first contact with the luminary years ago, proposed a last, desperate gambit. Using the Arcturians' own planetary engines, massive thrust arrays built into the planet's crust for orbital adjustment, they could potentially move Arcturus Prime itself. It's never been used for anything like this. First Arbiter Xylix protested. The strain could tear the planet apart. It's that or watch it be destroyed, Elena countered. Sometimes, First Arbiter, you have to risk everything to save everything. With no other options, the plan was put into action. As the gas giant loomed ever larger in the sky, blotting out the stars, Arcturus Prime's planetary engines roared to life. The entire planet shuddered, fault lines cracking, volcanoes erupting as the massive world was pushed out of its orbit. In the final moments, it seemed as if all their efforts would be in vain. The gas giant's outer atmosphere began to brush against the energy shield, the collision appearing inevitable. But then, slowly, agonizingly, Arcturus Prime began to move. The distance between the two celestial bodies widened, first by kilometers, then by thousands of kilometers. As the gas giant passed by, missing Arcturus Prime by a margin that was razor-thin on an astronomical scale, a deafening cheer erupted across every ship in the system. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity and the Arcturians had worked together to save a world. In the aftermath, as rescue and repair efforts began on the battered but survived Arcturus Prime, Admiral Jen found herself in conversation with First Arbiter Xylix. "Your people have done the impossible," Xylix said, its skin shimmering with emotions too complex for the translator to convey. "You risked everything for a world not your own, for a people you barely knew. Why?" Jen smiled, looking out at the fleet of human and Arcturian ships working side by side to repair the damage. "Because that's what humanity does, First Arbiter. We see the impossible not as a barrier, but as a challenge, and we believe that every life, every world, is worth saving." As news of the miraculous rescue spread across the galaxy, humanity's standing in the galactic community soared. They had proven themselves not just as capable allies, but as a species willing to risk everything to save others. It was a defining moment, one that would shape humanity's role in galactic affairs for generations to come. The cosmic catastrophe that had threatened to destroy Arcturus Prime had instead forged an unbreakable bond between humans and Arcturians. As the recovery efforts continued, both species knew that this was just the beginning of a partnership that would reshape the galaxy. And throughout the stars, other species watched and wondered, what would these unpredictable, indomitable humans do next? The hive mind conundrum. 10 years had passed since the Arcturian rescue, and humanity's reputation in the galactic community had grown exponentially. Earth had become a hub of interstellar diplomacy and scientific collaboration, with alien embassies dotting the globe and joint research projects pushing the boundaries of known science. But peace in the galaxy was about to be shattered. Dr. Ilara Vance, head of Earth's Xenological Threat Assessment Division, stood before the United Earth Security Council, her normally calm demeanor visibly shaken. "Ladies and gentlemen of the Council," she began, her voice grave, "we face a threat unlike any we've encountered before. The Zix Collective, a hive mind species from the Outer Rim, has begun an aggressive expansion into Confederation space. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing swarms of insectoid ships overwhelming planetary defenses with terrifying efficiency. The Zix operate as a single consciousness spread across billions of individual drones," Ilara continued. "Their technology, while not necessarily more advanced than ours, is used with a level of coordination that makes them nearly unstoppable in conventional warfare." Council President Adayimai leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "What's the Confederation's response?" Ilara's expression darkened. "That's the problem, Mr. President. The Confederation is in disarray. Many of the older species are retreating, sealing their borders. Others are suggesting capitulation, hoping to appease the collective. The few who are willing to fight are divided on strategy." A murmur of concern rippled through the council chamber. "And where do we stand in all this?" asked Defense Minister Chen. "We've been asked to join a coalition of younger species willing to stand against the Zix," Ilara replied. "But given our limited fleet size compared to the older races, we're seen more as cannon fodder than equal partners." President Adayemi stood, his decision clear in his eyes. "We didn't come this far to hide or to be sacrificial pawns. If humanity is to fight, we'll do it our way. Dr. Vance, you've studied the Zix more than anyone. What's your assessment? How do we beat them?" Ilara took a deep breath. The Zix's greatest strength, their hive mind, may also be their greatest weakness. They think and act as one, which makes them incredibly efficient, but also predictable. They lack the creativity, the individuality that defines humanity. I believe that's where we need to focus our efforts. And so, Operation Wildcard was born. While the coalition fleet engaged the Zix in conventional battles, often with heavy losses, a small team of human specialists was assembled for a daring mission. Captain Zara Okoro, a brilliant tactician with a background in game theory, led the team. Alongside her were Dr. Viktor Petrov, a renowned cyberneticist, Lieutenant Raj Patel, an ace pilot with a knack for impossible maneuvers, and Dr. Yuki Tanaka, whose work on quantum entanglement had revolutionized communication technology. Their mission: infiltrate Zix-controlled space and find a way to disrupt the hive mind itself. As their stealth ship, the Shadow Dancer, slipped past the Zix orbital defenses around a conquered world, Zara couldn't help but feel the weight of their responsibility. Billions of lives across the galaxy depended on their success. Approaching drop point, Raj announced from the pilot's seat, his hands dancing over the controls with inhuman speed and precision. Zara nodded. "Remember the plan. We get in, plant the quantum disruptors, and get out. The Zix won't be expecting a small-scale infiltration. They're too focused on large fleet movements." As the team made planetfall, the alien landscape that greeted them was a nightmare of efficiency. Every surface crawled with Zix drones, each one going about its task with single-minded purpose. There was no individuality, no deviation from the collective will. "It's fascinating," Victor muttered as they made their way towards the central hive cluster. "Each drone is like a neuron in a massive planet-spanning brain." "Yeah, fascinating," Raj replied dryly. "Let's just hope we can give this brain the mother of all migraines." The team moved swiftly, using their adaptive camouflage suits to blend in with the environment. When they reached the central cluster, a massive, pulsating structure that served as the primary relay for the planet's hive mind, they split up to plant the quantum disruptors at key points. Everything was going according to plan until a patrol of warrior drones stumbled upon Yuki as she was planting the final disruptor. "Contact." Yuki's voice crackled over the comm. "I don't think I can." Her transmission cut off abruptly. Zara made a split-second decision. "Raj, Victor, complete the mission. I'm going after Yuki." Before her teammates could protest, Zara was sprinting towards Yuki's last known position. She found the scientist cornered by 3 warrior drones, their weapon arms charging up for a lethal strike. Without hesitation, Zara threw herself into the fray. Her combat training took over as she ducked and weaved, using the drone's size and rigid thinking against them. In close quarters, their powerful weapons were as much a hindrance as a help. As Zara fought, she noticed something odd. The drone's attacks, while coordinated, were entirely predictable. They followed optimal combat algorithms perfectly, which made their moves easy to anticipate for someone trained to think outside the box. With a final, acrobatic leap, Zara managed to trick 2 of the drones into firing on each other. As they fell, she dispatched the third with a well-placed shot from her pulse pistol. "You okay?" she asked, helping Yuki to her feet. Yuki nodded, her eyes wide with adrenaline and amazement. "That was incredible. How did you do that?" Zara allowed herself a small smile. "They may be perfectly coordinated, but they lack adaptability. Come on, we need to finish this." With all disruptors in place, the team regrouped at the extraction point. Victor's fingers flew over his portable console, initiating the disruption sequence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the air itself seemed to vibrate as the quantum disruptors activated. All around them, Zix drones began to twitch and stumble, their movements becoming erratic. "It's working," Victor exclaimed. "We're causing quantum interference in their hive mind communication. They can't coordinate." As they watched, the once organized Zix society around them descended into chaos. Drones wandered aimlessly, bumping into each other, unable to perform even basic tasks without the guidance of the hive mind. The shadow dancer swooped in for extraction, Raj's piloting skills put to the test as he navigated the suddenly unpredictable movements of the disoriented Zix swarms. As they broke atmosphere, heading back to the Coalition fleet, Zora allowed herself to feel a glimmer of hope. "Send word to Earth and our allies," she ordered. "Tell them we found the Zix's weakness. It's time to take the fight to them." In the weeks that followed, the tide of the war began to turn. Armed with the knowledge gained from Operation Wildcard, Coalition forces launched a series of surgical strikes against key Zix hive clusters. Wherever the quantum disruptors were deployed, Zix forces fell into disarray, easy prey for the more adaptable Coalition ships. The Zix Collective, faced with an enemy they couldn't predict or outthink, began to retreat. Worlds that had been conquered were liberated, their native species marveling at the ingenuity of the human-led coalition. As the war drew to a close, with the Zix forced back to their home systems, the galactic community found itself in awe of humanity once again. They had faced an enemy that many thought unbeatable, and through creativity, adaptability, and sheer determination, they had prevailed. In the aftermath, as treaties were signed and reconstruction began, Captain Zara Okoro found herself addressing the Galactic Confederation Assembly. Beings from 1,000 worlds listened as she spoke. "The Zix Collective taught us a valuable lesson," she said, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. Unity and coordination are powerful, yes, but it is our differences, our individual thoughts and experiences, that truly make us strong. Humanity doesn't speak with one voice. We argue, we disagree, we challenge each other. And in doing so, we grow, we adapt, we find solutions that no single mind could conceive. As applause filled the chamber, Zara knew that humanity's place in the galaxy had been forever changed. They had proven themselves not just as warriors or diplomats, but as innovators, problem solvers, and protectors. The galaxy was entering a new age, and humanity would be at the forefront, ready to face whatever challenges the universe had in store. Forging a galactic future. 20 years had passed since the Zix War, and the face of the galaxy had changed dramatically. Humanity, once viewed as upstart newcomers, now stood as a central pillar of the Galactic Confederation. Earth had become a bustling hub of interstellar commerce and cultural exchange, its cities a vibrant tapestry of human and alien life. In the gleaming spires of New Geneva, the expanded headquarters of the Galactic Confederation, Ambassador Zara Okoro, formerly captain, stood before the assembly. Her once jet-black hair was now streaked with distinguished silver, but her eyes still held the same fire that had led humanity to victory 2 decades ago. Distinguished representatives of the Confederation, Zara began, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. We stand at a crossroads. The galaxy we knew is changing, evolving. Old barriers are falling, and new challenges arise. It is time for the Confederation to evolve with it. Murmurs rippled through the assembly as beings from 1,000 worlds leaned in to listen. Humanity proposes the Galactic Initiative for Cooperative Advancement, Zara continued. A bold new program to pool our resources, share our knowledge, and work together to solve the greatest challenges facing our civilizations. As Zara laid out the details of the initiative, holographic displays flickered to life around the chamber. They showed ambitious projects. Massive Dyson swarms to harness the power of stars, terraforming systems to breathe life into dead worlds, and quantum gateways to bridge the vast distances between galaxies. But this initiative is about more than just grand projects, Zara said, her voice softening. It's about bringing our peoples closer together. Exchange programs to share culture and knowledge. Open borders to allow free movement between willing worlds. A true galactic community, united in diversity. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of debate. Some species embraced the idea enthusiastically, while others voiced concerns about losing their autonomy or unique identities. Amidst the discussion, First Arbiter Xylix of the Arcturians rose to speak. The willowy alien's iridescent skin shimmered with emotion as it addressed the assembly. 25 years ago, humanity came to the aid of my people when no one else would. They risked everything to save a world not their own. Since then, I have watched these humans closely. I've seen them face challenges that would break lesser species and emerge stronger. I've seen them extend a hand of friendship to those very different from themselves, seeking understanding where others might find fear. Xylix's compound eyes swept the chamber. The Arcturians stand with humanity in this initiative. We believe that together, we can build a future greater than any of us could achieve alone. One by one, other species began to voice their support. The luminary, their crystalline forms glittering, spoke of the creative potential of increased cooperation. The Zigglets, tentacles waving excitedly, extolled the economic benefits of open borders. Even the Quantarians, usually resistant to change, acknowledged the logical advantages of pooling galactic resources. As the assembly voted overwhelmingly to adopt the initiative, Zara felt a swell of pride. This was what humanity had been working towards since they first reached for the stars. Not domination or conquest, but partnership, mutual growth, and shared discovery. In the years that followed, the galaxy entered a new golden age. The Galactic Initiative for Cooperative Advancement bore fruit in ways even its architects hadn't imagined. On a once barren world in the Cygnus Arm, human terraformers worked alongside Arcturian ecologists and Ziggurat engineers to create a lush, habitable planet. As the first cities rose from the transformed landscape, they stood as a testament to what could be achieved through cooperation. In the asteroid belts of the Orion Spur, vast shipyards operated by mixed crews of a dozen species constructed the first of the quantum gate platforms. These marvels of engineering, born from the combined knowledge of the galaxy's greatest minds, promised to revolutionize interstellar travel. Earth itself was transformed. The open borders policy saw an influx of alien visitors and immigrants, bringing with them new ideas, technologies, and perspectives. Human cities became marvels of Zen architecture, blending styles from across the galaxy into breathtaking new forms. But perhaps the most profound changes were cultural. As barriers between species fell, new forms of art, music, and literature emerged. Galactic fusion cuisine became all the rage, with restaurants offering dishes that combined flavors from a dozen worlds. Mixed species families became increasingly common, challenging old notions of identity and belonging. It wasn't always smooth sailing. Cultural misunderstandings led to occasional diplomatic incidents. Some isolationist factions on various worlds, including Earth, protested the rapid changes. But for every challenge, the new galactic community found a solution, growing stronger and more united with each obstacle overcome. 50 years after humanity's first tentative steps into the galactic community, Zara Okoro stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a massive space habitat orbiting Earth. Below her, the blue marble of humanity's homeworld slowly turned, while all around, ships of every description bustled about their business. "Quite a view, isn't it?" a voice said behind her. Zara turned to see Dr. Ilara Vance, now well into her 90s, but still sharp as ever. The former head of Earth's Sinological Threat Assessment Division had long since retired, but her advisory role kept her at the forefront of galactic affairs. "I never get tired of it," Zara replied with a smile. "Sometimes I still can't believe how far we've come." Ilara nodded, her eyes twinkling. "When I first started studying alien life, I never imagined I'd live to see anything like this. A true galactic civilization, with humanity right at its heart." As they watched, a sleek ship emerged from the quantum gate platform in high orbit. Its design was like nothing ever seen before. A seamless blend of technologies and aesthetics from a dozen different species. "The Star Song," Ilara said, a note of pride in her voice. "The first of the new deep space explorers. Did you hear who they chose to captain her?" Zara nodded, grinning. "My granddaughter, Amara. She's beside herself with excitement. A 5-year mission to explore beyond the galactic rim, with a crew made up of the best and brightest from across Confederation space." "Following in your footsteps," Ilara observed. "Pushing the boundaries, seeking out new life and new civilizations." "That's who we are," Zara said softly. "As a species, as a galactic community, we're explorers, dreamers, always looking to the next horizon, the next challenge. And now we face those challenges together." As the Star Song gracefully maneuvered away from Earth, preparing for its historic journey, Zara felt a profound sense of hope for the future. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors or subjects, but as partners, innovators, and friends. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and they were just beginning to scratch the surface. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever new civilizations they might encounter, Zara knew that the spirit that had brought humanity this far would carry them forward.